together. They are sketchy, dude. We're jumping over cars and wall rides in the streets. If you crash, you're going over a railing, you know? So I really want to win a World Cup. That is the new pinnacle of the sport, in my opinion. Hardline is the pinnacle. I've been doing this for 18 years now and I still haven't won. So I'm missing something. Like, I remember getting 14th at Enduro 2 years ago and I was like, this sacrifice is not worth it.
Hold on a minute, guys, because you might have noticed we are wearing some fresh MBUK threads, and that's because I went to shop.mbuk.com. What did I find on there, Rob?
T-shirts, hoodies, bottles, socks,
and
mint sauce.
Mint sauce.
Special mint sauce merch. And look, check this out.
Special edition run, only a few hundred printed, and they're not going to be around forever, celebrating 37-ish years of MBUK's history.
So that's T-shirts and hoodies with this limited print?
Yeah. Now, if you want details of all these things, you can go down to the description in this video or go to shop.mbuk.com.
Back to the video.
We're back with another MBUK podcast. Of course, we've got Rob Weaver. How you doing, Rob?
I'm good, thanks, Tom. How are you?
Okay, thank you. And today,
Excellent.
if you haven't noticed, we've got Bernard Kerr. Not only is he Pivot Factory Racing's #1 racer, he also runs the team, which is a pretty big old job. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Stoked to be here.
Excellent stuff. You just got back from, I'm going to pronounce it really badly, the Cerro Abajo street race in Valparaiso,
That sounded
Chile.
pretty good.
Yeah,
that was all right.
Yeah, I reckon that was pretty good. Yeah, not too bad.
I can never pronounce Valparaiso, but whatever. You know, it's that town in Chile.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Can you tell us a little bit about the race and how it went? Because it's not something that we've really done much
Yeah, the race itself is awesome. They're really gnarly and they're getting gnarly. Like all the young kids and everything, they're too good now, you know? They're not scared. They've got great bikes and they're super good. But the race itself, it goes from like the top of the town and it's so steep. Where like when you go up in the pickups, they're like wheel spinning up the hill. So they're like steeper cities. We went here in Bristol yesterday to do a couple like clips with Win on some streets, and it's the steepest street in England, and it has nothing on the streets there. So super steep. They've got stairs. You go through people's houses, jumps, and because it's in a city, it's real limited practice. Like on the Saturday afternoon, you can hit like a few of the stairs at the top. You get like an hour to ride some stairs and maybe one wall ride, and all your practice is on Sunday morning before the race. You get 3 or 4 laps, because they can't shut a city for that long.
Yeah, it must dissect the whole city.
Yeah, so it's kind of the gnarliest bit is that they're like, okay, 2 hours practice, go. Do everything you can as quick as you can. And you haven't hit half the jumps because they weren't even there the day before. So you've got to test all these jumps and then suddenly try and race it. So I love that because I'm always quick on the first day of World Cup. So super cool event. The crowd's unreal because obviously mountain biking is hard to get to a lot of the time. It's up in the mountains, it's far away. You are bringing the sport and the race to the people. You are bringing it to the city. So anyone that lives there can watch it, even if they've never heard of it. And fans can come from all around, obviously, and drive to a city. It's quite accessible, which I think is awesome. And then, obviously, Red Bull TV do an amazing job with Elliot and Rob commentating and putting it on. So, awesome race. I did really bad, unfortunately. I went into the little house at the top, maybe 15 seconds into my run. And there's a real tight turn. You basically go into someone's house and you had to pedal out. And we were in 4th gear, which on a downhill bike's pretty small gear. You're going pretty slow. And as I came around with my left pedal stroke, my foot just came out the top of the cleat. I think it's because you like twisted because it was such a tight turn. You're real awkward. Pulled my left foot out and there's no way I would have made the gap. It was probably 8 or 10 feet long and 8 feet down, but I just would not have cleared it. So I just had to hit the brakes and then you're kind of done. You know?
Yeah.
Pulled my bike up around, turned around, walked back into the house, set it up, tracks down and sprinted out and did it. But kind of ruined the race and I was gutted because I was pretty scared going into it. I had a huge crash there last time I was there like 2 or 3 years ago. And then by race, I like did a real cruisy quali because I was protected so I didn't have to try. And I was like, I feel pretty good now. Confidence is up and I was going to try pretty hard. Don't think I would have got a podium in all honesty. I think I'd been close to top 5, around the top 5 mark. But I would have been stoked with that. So yeah, pretty gutted. I like ruined it. And you fly all that way, dude. We were in Chile for 4 days.
Wow.
You know, we were in America before in California with Crank Brothers. So it was like 20 hours down, 20 hours home with all the stops. So I was more gutted that I ruined that. And the promoters of the Cerro Abajo, they're such a nice group and they put a lot of effort into getting us there and putting this awesome event on. You know, they pay for your hotels, they help with flights. It's such a cool thing.
Oh, wow.
I felt like I let them down, you know, and I was really gutted about that because the staff there, they go so out of their way to help you. And obviously our sponsor, I felt like I let them down more than anything and like the fans because I should have done good. I could have done good and I did really, really badly.
I mean, I think like you been doing it for a few years. It has been around and we have seen it, but you bring a lot of attention to the race, which obviously the promoter's going to like. It means more people are watching it. So those like the South American racers, for example, they're getting more exposure. We've seen, did one of them go to Hardline last year?
Yeah,
exactly.
So one for
cool.
and Sebastian went. Yeah, and I think that's why they like having me there. Obviously, the YouTube videos, the Instagram, and a lot of mountain bikers, especially mine. Normally, my biggest single following city is Santiago in Chile.
No
one
way.
city. Yeah, so it's a huge like community down there. They love mountain biking, and you feel it. The energy and the passion down there is amazing. It's such a cool place to go and ride a bike, and so different. So yeah, and with the riders coming out of there, with one for Sebastian, one for crashing his run, but he would have won. Guy's a nutter. He's so talented. And they're just such a nice group. Yeah, dude, you saw that Hardline. He sued the road gap. You know. And they're amazing, dude. They're such cool people. And it's kind of like a Hardline vibe. All the riders get on, they help each other, and you test the speed for features together. They are sketchy, dude. We're jumping over cars and wall rides in the streets. When you crash, you're going over a railing, you know? So it's a good vibe with everyone.
There's a few of those races around, aren't there? Because it's not just that one in Valparaiso.
Yeah, we had Genova in Italy
yes,
in November. And then that one, there's Mexico in a couple weeks, which now I'm out of the series, I don't think I'm going to go to. I'm trying to concentrate on actually doing good. Racing some World Cups and some big races this year, so I think I'm going to miss it. Annoyingly, stay behind, keep training going well, and not fly across the world again.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, how does it feel competing in an urban environment versus something like Hardline, which I think everyone sort of holds Hardline up as the wildest, gnarliest event you could do? But I suppose at least you're on dirt and rocks and stuff you're familiar with.
Yeah, because it is so gnarly Hardline, but this is almost gnarlier because we cut my bars down. I normally run 768, basically 770, but I like to say 768. we cut them down to 750 because it's so sketchy and tight and you're going through the railings. So even though, like if you rode it at walking speed, it's the easiest thing you've ever ridden, you know?
Yeah.
But you can't ride Hardline at walking speed. It's all too way big and gnarly. But then when you ride the stairs at race speed and you got railings and this and that and dogs that could run out, you know, it becomes really gnarly.
Even stuff like braking, I assume, you know how to brake on dirt.
Yeah.
But braking on stairs is you're sort of skittering across the top of them.
Skid and slide, You can kind of like hover across stairs when you're braking. So, I think the boys now, they train on it and practice. And I think that was a downfall of me. The last time I rode stairs was at the race in Italy. The next time was that race. So I think to be competitive now, you do need to go practice, you know, and get good at it because they are really good at it. They're masters, dude. Those South American riders are so good. So... yeah, it's kind of, they're showing me up and showing me that,
Slavic, right?
And Slavic, he's a savage though, dude. God. What a talented guy.
Yeah.
It sucks what happened, and I completely believe that it was an accident on his part. If you look at my GoPro from practice, I start with the other foot forward, and if the beam thing had been the other way, I would have missed it a couple of times in practice.
Okay.
So I genuinely believe it was a mistake, but I think, he deserved it that day. He rode like an amazing rider, so fair play to him.
How do you set the bikes up differently other than the bars? Is there anything else?
Cut the bars down. Tyres, I think I had 30 in the front and 34 in the rear.
So higher than...
I normally have 23, 27.
Wow.
And suspension, I think, what did I go up in the fork? Maybe almost 10 PSI. To like, I'm normally on like 88 or so now, maybe like 98. And the shock, it's hard to talk about the shock, but we went up a lot in the shock. Maybe 50 PSI or something or more.
Right.
So way stiffer. It's just the compressions in the stairs is a lot harder. Okay. And there's a lot of pedaling.
Yeah.
So bike's a lot stiffer, narrow bars, but it feels cool, like it feels real dead and positive. And I got back and we made it like normal for Dovey last week and this week, and it felt so funny and soft. It felt like a slug, and I was just glued to the ground. It made me feel like a hero. It made me feel amazing on the bike again.
Oh, cool!
Because it was just tracking and it was stuck. So almost cool to like reset it back up how you used to it.
Past couple of years is like there seems to be a bit of renewed interest in these non-UCI races. There's a street racing, obviously Hardline's a massive one.
Yeah.
Crankworks as well. I guess the influence of Red Bull no longer being involved with the World Cup has had that. But for a racer like you, is the World Cup still like the most important bit, or are you sort of thinking, these are
It's a hard one, I guess the World Cup still just holds in people's mind prestige, and it's called the World Cup, which, I guess it's historically like anything like the Tour de France is that, or like the Olympics. I'm not personally a huge fan of the Olympics. It's quite savage how you get in. There's not always the best athletes there because of the amount of people that can go. But everyone holds this Olympics on this pedestal. And I think they kind of do that with World Cups. But like you say, we're seeing Hardline in these street races. They get amazing reach and views on the Red Bull streaming on YouTube, and fans can engage with it. They can watch it for free. It's awesome. We can do all these vlogs. We can put our helmet cams out afterwards. And I think they do a great job of showcasing like almost all aspects of mountain biking and fun features. And people can relate to stairs. Everyone's walked down a stair in their life, right? You've walked down some stairs. You know what a street looks like. You've been down a road in a car. So you can relate to how we're riding it, which is cool. And then Hardline is so unrelatable, but so awesome in its own way, right? Like there's 80, 90 foot jumps in a racetrack and we're averaging 55 Ks for a race run, which is pretty ridiculous. Yeah. Hopefully Wales is going to be a bit more technical and slower. But yeah, I think just everyone's seeing the hype with it and how cool it is and how they do treat the riders. You know, they help us go with financial benefits and all these other things. And yeah, I don't know what I really want to win a World Cup. Obviously, I've won Hardline a few times, but yeah, there's something about World Cup still. Everyone's there. We're obviously missing some big names at these other events. So that's probably what makes the World Cup still, I'd say, is that everyone is there. Yeah. All the big names are there. If all the big names went to Hardline, I could see that being that is the new pinnacle of the sport, in my opinion. Hardline is the pinnacle. It's the biggest jumps, the gnarliest, steepest stuff, the most technical features. That almost is, for me, the pinnacle of downhill. But I guess the pinnacle of racing or who you want to beat is all the best guys at the minute.
I guess we don't... Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was just going to say about... it looks like there's going to be a bit more momentum over in the US for the race series over there this year. Yeah. And you being sponsored by a US brand, is there encouragement for you to go over and compete?
Not massively. Honestly, budget struggles would be the biggest issue. I would love to go and do more, but yeah, budget struggles and the World Cups, there's so many of them this year. Yeah. Obviously, so many, there's only 10, but yeah, it's back to back. You know, you'd have to fly and this and that. And yeah, we don't have a vehicle over there. It becomes very expensive to get a team over, hire vehicles, accommodation in the US is a lot. So I would love to, but unfortunately, we're not really in the budget position to do a lot of them this year.
Okay. With such a packed race schedule, are there any that's going to stand out in 2025 that you're looking forward to?
Looking forward to? Definitely Lake Placid. It's the USA. I love the US fans, dude. Every time we go, like you say, Pivot's an American brand. They've treated me so well over the years. And the fans over there are rad, dude. I've done well at Snowshoe a couple of times. Yeah. And yeah, if you do well somewhere, you can't help. In my head, I'm confident for Lake Placid. I've never raced there. And you can't help it. I know I'll get on that plane and be like, we're on this week. And there's something about that downhill's half mental, you know? Yeah. So yeah, that one already I'm excited for at the end of the year. That'll be rad. I think the Twill. That's going to be awesome. You see what they're doing. Hopefully, we're trying not to make it too man-made, which looks like they're getting a bit carried away, but Loic and Loris have been. And Loic's a great guy for tracks. I know he likes it a bit more man-made than I do, maybe, you know? But I do trust him. He's a great rider, great racer, and he's going to want a good racetrack. So, and that mountain's unreal. It's so steep. Yeah. So I think, the Twill and Lake Placid this year, they stand out, and obviously Hardline in Wales. Can't wait for that.
You're the face of Hardline.
I'm not sure anymore, but I'm trying to keep my foot in the door.
Yeah. Do you have any particular rivalries with any guys on the circuit? I know you're sort of talking about Bruni there being like a great guy, but are there anyone you sort of think, I just want to beat him?
Ronan Doon, because he's too good. Ronan's amazing, but he's a cool kid as well, and he gives me shit back. I like that, for a young kid. He's cool. I don't know. I get mad when he beats me, but he's won World Cups now, so yeah. Jackson Goldstone, only because he's the whole package. Like, he's such a nice kid. He's so well grounded. He's so good on a bike. Like, you want to hate him, but he's just a great guy. I can't say a bad word about him. Like, he's a great kid and he's so talented on a bike. I just want to beat him because he's so good. There is people. I'm trying to think. Danny, just because we've grown up together, I want to beat you, Danny.
Are there any aspects of their riding that you wish you could sort of take
Rooney's
on?
riding, I would take his racecraft and how dialed he's on a bike and how central and how strong and how amazing he rides a bike. Same with Jackson. If you look at him, he's on it and just I'm actually this week I'm going to go do some coaching with Alex Bond, an amazing old racer.
I know Bondy.
Everything I could do. I'm training great with a trainer. I'm doing this. Our new bike's amazing. Why not see if I can tick off a couple other aspects? Like,
so you're totally open to all of that sort of stuff?
I'm so open to him watching me, coming riding for the day. Watch me, see if you can see anything. Every time you go in there, you're skidding. Try and drag your brake better, because I know I skid a bit too much. Or you need to lean in, or he wants to do some cone drills. Why not? Like, what? I've been doing this for 18 years now, and I still haven't won. So I'm missing something. So even if I leave and mentally in my head, I'm like, I've tried harder. I have done everything I can to try and do well this year. Mentally, like, even if it's placebo, you're going to go into the race better and hopefully more confident, and hopefully even I believe Alex, like Bondi, could help me a little bit.
I mean, he's a phenomenal rider, right? In his own right.
Such a good rider. If we do Davi race laps, only if I push 100% can I pull a gap. And even then, maybe not. He can keep up, dude. He hasn't raced World Cups for years. So, and I think his technique's really good. Yes. So, yeah, I'm going to get him to help me. We're going to Langhofen this week, and he's going to come and, dude, you're never too old or too good to learn, I don't think. In Supercross, all those guys have lines coaches or technique coaches and downhill, just bang laps. Why not see if someone can help me? And I'm open to it, dude. I'm definitely not the best bike rider out there or the best racer, quite obviously. So I will take some help if I can get it.
Do you approach testing in the same sort of frame of mind?
Yeah, I haven't done much, if I'm honest. I'm just trying to learn now. We've just got some BYB, like suspension telemetry. Unfortunately, it broke in New Zealand when we were using it. We just spent a load of money on it and it's not quite working. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it's a sensor or something. And we're going to work that out. But yeah, I've never done loads of testing. I think when loads of people in mountain biking say they go testing, they're just going to go do laps for the day and change some stuff. Like most of the time, they're just practicing, I think 90% of the time. But yeah, I'm open-minded. But a lot of time, my biggest downfall is just having too much fun on a bike and just lap. Or at World Cup, there'll be people stood in the section. I'm like, watch this. I'm just going to hit it real quick. When I should look at lines more, I should work on my setup, or I should listen, or you get stuck in your own ways and start having too much fun riding, I think. Well, I do, at least. Sounds
a lot like Brendan as well, though, right?
Yeah, we just get carried away, I think, having fun on your bike. So that's not the best racecraft, maybe.
But at least you're having fun.
Having fun, but I probably have more fun if I want to race one day.
You still manage to like build a career though, like you know, you're having fun. You give this sort of almost like a Playboy lifestyle sort of image of like mountain bike. There's got to be something more behind the scenes, you know, like you are serious about this.
I'm so serious. I know people think we are just having a laugh, but I'm not going to share an Instagram story of me doing emails for 2 hours, or sometimes I'll put a turbo session up. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm in the gym again, everyone, by the way, in case you want to know, or I'm doing this other boring thing, you know, or testing, like gym testing. But yeah, we do take it very seriously. You know, we try and eat well. I'm not drinking anymore. Like, I'm really trying to take this pretty seriously. So yeah, maybe it is really fun. Don't get me wrong. We have a great time and I really appreciate what we get to do. But I do take it quite seriously, yeah.
I told you, didn't I? That's the secret. Off the booze, in white shoes.
Yeah, that's how you win. White shoes. That's
how you win a race. Yeah.
Luke Marshall.
We'll see, eh?
We'll see. Exactly.
Are you sort of proud of how the career's developed? I think earlier on in your career, you maybe didn't have the support that you have now. Like, but as you sort of said, you still built this incredible thing. Do you look back and think, like, could things have been different, or do you look back and think, you know what, I made that myself and I built that my career like that?
I'm incredibly proud. Yeah, I'd say my mum and myself built it along with our sponsors. Like, it was just her and me, and I think. Yeah, we could have learned a lot of stuff earlier, but like we had no idea. I didn't set my tire pressure up probably properly until I was in my 20s. Like, I didn't know. And I was nervous to ask, you know, you come across confident, but I had no idea what we were doing. And when you're not doing as well, you don't have sponsors as good. Like, we've got Reynolds rims now, you know, they're amazing. Like, there was 1 year where I got 3 flat tires and snapped a chain in qualifying. So 4 qualifying in 1 year I missed because of 3 flat, you know, and that's bad tires or rim setup or whatever it is. But we had no idea and we couldn't do it differently. You know, we were trying our best. So,
and I suppose you had to take some of the support where you could get it, right?
So anything you could get.
And you didn't have the choice, right?
So you're running really hard rims. You know, you're going to flat on or this or that. So, no, I wish I'd listened to my mum more now looking back. You know, any kid, if you're a kid, listen to your parents and appreciate them because they do know what is best for you most of the time and they are trying their best, because maybe I would go out partying or I wouldn't listen or I wouldn't train as much as I should. So, that's one thing I would change. I'd listen to my mum more, definitely, when I was younger.
So could she always see the potential, do you think?
Definitely, yeah. I think,
cool.
Yeah, you have like some riders that are so focused and maybe not the most talented, and they do amazing because they're so driven and they train and they put all the work in.
Yeah.
And then you've got the talented riders that think they're cool and too good and don't need to train, and which I thought I was, you know.
Right.
And I'd probably get 1 top 10 a year. I was like, oh, well, it's just going to click and I'll be at top 10 at every race.
Right.
But talent doesn't get you there. You know, you need to do the hard work. So it took me a long time to realize that, I think.
But I think you always, so I was obviously a bit older, so in different categories to you as you were sort of starting out. And I think even looking back, because I knew Bren and those guys, and just, you could already see that you already had some work ethic though, right? You were already chipping away and seemed to be at the top early, warming up, doing all the right things.
I do that at races, yeah. It was just in between, like racing I loved. Now try as hard as I could at the races. It was all the in between and working out oh, I actually need to go spend an hour working on my bike so it's ready to ride this weekend, even on a normal week. I just would never even have thought of that.
You're just desperate to ride.
Check the bolts or pump the tires up before I went. I wouldn't even, if I thought about the effort of, right, let's check your tires again before you go riding today. You'll probably have a better day riding. You'll ride better. You'll learn more. Or like you actually need to do the kind of shit uphill pedaling today because then you'll be fitter and you'll do better. So yeah, definitely could have done all that more. But I've had a lot of fun. I know there's racers out there that have done a lot better than me, and I'm sure it feels great to do good, like I said, but I reckon I've had quite a lot of fun along the way. But yeah, maybe, I think I got my first podium when I was like 26, which is late for your first one, 25 or 26.
You do give yourself a hard time by the sounds of it. And it feels like when you look at your results, they're incredible.
It doesn't feel like that until recent years, if I'm honest. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think you just set such a high expectation of yourself? That it's always really hard to work. I always want
a podium or do good, and for years I didn't. And even now, I don't know, if you can podium and you don't. Like I remember getting 14th at Enduro 2 years ago, and I was like, this sacrifice is not worth it.
Really?
I was so upset. I was like, this is not worth it for me to come here and do everything I've done for the last 2 months to get 14th. I was like, this is just not worth it. Like, why am I even bothering if I'm coming 14th kind of thing? Like, I was pretty upset about it. I was like, this sucks. Like, why am I trying so hard? So I guess that's why, because you try so hard, you do make a lot of sacrifices that people don't see, and you don't do this, you don't do that. You get up Monday in your year intervals and you come 14th. You're like, what's the point? Why have I even tried so hard if I'm going to ride like that or come there or make a mistake? So maybe.
What kept you going then? You've late bloomers, like probably not the right term, but like if you spent the early part of your career not getting the results that you wanted or you felt you could get, like how did you keep going back and back? And what was plan B?
I didn't have a plan B. I think that's what kept me going back. I had no idea what else to do. And I loved riding bikes. I think I just love bikes so much. I remember first or second year I was on pivot. I left Fort William National. I think I got 30th. My goggle lens had come out a bit and my eyes were watering the whole way. And I got like 30th at the National. And I was driving home and I was like, am I just making an excuse for him? And I was like, I just don't think this is for me. I might need to stop. And that was the first or second year on pivot. It's like 15 years ago now. And I was like, fuck, I think this isn't for me now. I've got to stop. And then I think I went away and trained, tried hard and started doing better. But I don't know. I just didn't really know what else to do probably. And it's like, I just keep doing this. And then maybe I think it was that year or the next year I did well. And I was like, oh, maybe I can do this.
So when did the self-belief really start to sort of come in?
I think like 2 or 3 years ago, like I realized I was a pro. How done that sounds. I was like, whoa.
But that recently?
Yeah. I was like, I've kind of done this. Like, not like I've ticked it off, but like, it feels like my whole career or life, I've been trying to be a pro racer, trying to make it one day this will be my job, one day this will be my job. And then a couple of years ago, I was like, whoa, I kind of have made it my job. You sit there, I think it was New Zealand, I was like, this is my job now. It's kind of scary now because I'm like, shit, I'm almost over my job now. Because you've been working for your whole life towards this thing.
Yeah.
And you've, not that I've achieved it, but I kind of have. I wanted to be a pro and I've achieved being a pro. And I've only honestly really realized that in the last 2 or 3 years, like, whoa, I am actually a professional mountain biker, really recent that I've it's sunk in. And I remember me, George Browning, and a bunch of us in a house in New Zealand in 2014, 2013, trying to make our careers. And that honestly feels like the other day. Really? I know as you get on, it feels like the other day we were like, right, let's do this. We're going to train. We're all in this house. We're moving to Queenstown. We're going to try and become good racers here, and like, I had like no money. I flew in. I had like £600 in my account. I got stopped at the border. They're like, how are you going to survive? I was like, oh, I'm getting paid in January by my sponsor, I promise. And I was at the border for like 2 hours trying to get into the country. And we made it work, I guess, to some extent. But it's a weird one. I don't know. I didn't really have a plan B.
Seems to be doing all right. You're doing okay.
Yeah.
What's the story with Pivot then? So you've been with them like 15, 16 years. I'm guessing that started off as, like a little bit of sponsorship, but you're now running the show. Yeah,
started off through Upgrade, Ollie Wilkins. I was on Norco for like a season, lost that. And he was like, oh, we're bringing this new brand, Pivot, in. And I was like, oh, it's some weird German brand. I'm not really sure. He's like, no, just give them like have a look. Went down to Upgrade, had a look. And then like a week later, I was like, yeah, so keen. Signed. Went in on my birthday. I remember I was hungover. It was just so bad. I was like 19 or something. So tired. Went in, signed the deal, which was awesome. Got a frame. They gave me a little bit of money, which was awesome back then. It was like either $2,000 or $4,000. And I was like, this is insane. This is a great deal. And it was with Upgrade for a year or two. And then the guy that was running the pivot team at the time, he'd offered me a ride. And I was like, oh, sweet, yeah, I'm keen. And then he was like, oh, actually, it's going to be with Evil Bicycles. I don't think I'm going to run the pivot team anymore. And I said, do you mind if I reach out? And either he gave me the email or someone gave me Chris Carlis's email, reached out, put a proposal together, which at the time I thought I was so dulled. I should find the email. I keep telling people I need to find the email. It's probably the worst thing you've ever read. And I asked for $26,000 to run the team for the first year. I was like, I'm going to be so rich. Like, this is going to be the most insane thing ever. And we ran out of money right at the end, and Mum had to give me some and help us get through the last year and help us get home from Norway. Like, Ben Marks, my mechanic that runs MB Cyclery in Surrey, which is a pivot dealer now as well, which is awesome. Shout out Ben and MB. I remember just trying to barely get home from Norway at the end of the season, having no money and like working out, right, if I get to the airport with this money and we can check in and then we can just, each person can get a sandwich and things. And it's built from that. Honestly, Chris and his wife Cindy just had a lot of trust in me. I don't know why. I mean, it's kind of worked out, but honestly, amazing people, everyone at the company, like Kevin, Bill, the engineers, everyone that's been there for so long. And it's just built and it just kind of snowballed. Like, I never tried to build a company or a brand, or it just kind of happened. And I feel very, very lucky, and I appreciate it a lot. Like, you work for it, but still someone had to have the trust in you and believe in you that you were going to make it work for them. So I thank them a lot, honestly. And
but lucky. You must have been offered rides along the way though, right? Where you could just sort of
got offered
ditch that responsibility.
I got the team. I got offered from Will Longden. I think it was a Saracen ride and a giant one. The giant one fell through and Danny got it, but I did have the giant. Like, we were going backwards and forwards with giant when Danny signed for them. I mean, he did Unreal on it. And a Saracen ride. And there was a Rose one at the time. And they sent a bike out I tested. And I was just like, I really want to be on my own schedule. Like, we'd travel around in vans with our friends. I was like, imagine if I can just keep that going and be a pro. Like, I can travel in my van, but get paid. This would be the dream. And that was kind of why I started the team, because I just wanted to be on my own thing.
Okay.
Doing like van life, but getting paid for it. And that exploded into a team, I guess. But that was honestly the last time I got offered a ride would have been like 13 or 14 years ago. I had some random brand associated with KTM. I don't know how much I can say. Ask how much I wanted to ride for their e-bike and gravel brand a couple of years ago.
Right.
But otherwise, no, not really. Like, I think people know we're just like locked in at pivot. And
I guess that's really, if you are pivot factory racing, it's going to be quite a jump for you to like sack that off.
Yeah, no one really. I get paid by someone else and still run the team over there. But honestly, no, I would never even want to. Like I say, like I haven't really had any offers, and I'm sure I could go out and ask people. I had Nico was joking the other day at Frameworks. Actually, me and him were having a laugh. But I was like, dude, I would never leave pivot, obviously, because he's a great guy and I get on with him and Asa really well. But no, I've loved pivot forever and hopefully never have to go anywhere.
It's quite a big team, pivot factory racing, in terms of like the
too
bike.
Big.
Well, I guess this thing, like the bike brand isn't like a Special or a Trek or anything like that, but your presence in the pit is quite substantial despite that. What's it like running a team with so many people racing for you?
Too many. It got a bit out of hand through COVID. We had a good pay rise from Pivot, and then the Enduro thing was blowing up, so we signed that, and it was going really well, and it's still going. But it's almost too many now, and I'd like to scale it back at some point and hopefully have someone replace me, as I'm in my 18th year of racing. But we're kind of like Moneyball, I think, compared to them, for the results we get with the Enduro riders, with Jenna, myself, like Eddie, like everyone, like the results we get, and for the money I know we're competing, like our budget compared to the teams we're competing against is
good value for money.
Oh my God. I think we do a really good job value for money. I'm really proud of that as well, that we make the budget work a lot, and I find loopholes with credit card companies and baggage. Like, I worked out if I got silver on BA, you can fly up to 10 people on one booking with 2 pieces at 32 kilos for free.
Okay.
If one of you is on silver.
Wow, okay.
So we checked in last year with like 20 pieces in the business class check-in for an economy flight to Canada with 20 bikes or 20 boxes and gear bags for free, just because one of us has silver. But that's kind of how I've made it work, always trying to find loopholes. And you're saving thousands in excess there. And British Airways aren't that happy about it, but
rules are rules.
Rules are rules, dude. And you have to bring it up, like check-in. You're like, it's right here if you want to see it.
Do you ever wish, well, not wish, but I guess, do you ever look at what your counterparts are doing and sort of think like, maybe if I wasn't having to spend all this time finding these loopholes doing this, and I just had my head down,
Yeah, I have an assistant now for emails, Lauren Holm, that used to work at Hangwax, and she's amazing. And yeah, I'm going all in this year, spending any bit, like money always makes your life easy, you know? If I just turned up to the airport and didn't argue and just spent that, and you just check in, you checked in 5 minutes, or you can argue for 45 minutes because you know the rules and you get your luggage free. But yeah, a lot of the other races aren't having to do that. And I think, yeah, my life would definitely be easier sometimes, and maybe I'd do better. And I think the couple of years I did do really well before last year, I had everything pretty dialed and we were in the right direction. Unfortunately, last year, some things happened and there was outside things we had to take into account and stresses. And you see it affecting my racing. It did bad.
Okay.
As I get older, dude, I'm running out of time. So I think to try and get myself on a more level playing field, I'm giving the responsibility over to Steph. Eddie's girlfriend's coming on board this year to help work for us and do this and that. And yeah, we're going to delegate more things. And you'll take a pay cut in the short term, but I'm backing myself. I'm betting on myself that if we invest all this and I really try, then I'll be on a level playing field and I'm coming for them, hopefully.
That's really cool.
Yeah. What's it like having Enduro on the team as well? Like, I guess, as you say, in COVID, there was a bit of a boom. Things were going well. Enduro was massive. Now it's sort of, is it a distraction for you?
Yeah, it was awesome, dude. I love it. And if you go to an Enduro race, they're still amazing. The sport itself, we all ride it, right? You guys ride it, I ride it, everyone watching it. It's so fun. Even at an Enduro race, if you bomb around on an e-bike and you follow the race and your team's in the mix, it's such a good atmosphere. It's a great vibe. It's awesome. It's just obviously the coverage has died and it's really sad, honestly. And some of our sponsors aren't seeing the value in it because they're getting no media coverage. No one knows it's on. They might race on a Friday, so there's no fans, or rumors of world champs on a Monday this year.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a real shame because the people that started it did an amazing job starting that sport and starting the series. Like, hats off them for starting out. It was incredible. And yeah, it's really taken a dive, unfortunately. And I'm not sure if it will continue into the future for us or anyone. I think the teams have halved this year in the amount of teams registering. And it's a shame. It didn't used to be a distraction. It was so positive and it was all going so well. But yeah, now it's just, it's a shame to call it a sideshow, or barely even that, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You hear my tone of voice. It is a bit sad. Yeah, honestly, it was awesome. We drove from Andorra once to, where was it? Where Eddie was like, after day one, he was like in the lead or about to lead. And we knew he was going to do well. So we drove to like 3 a.m. in the truck from Andorra. We'd raced the Andorra World Cup. I think I got top 10, did pretty well. And we drove to like 3 a.m. to make it to the Enduro the next day. And Eddie won it. You know, and it was like the most worth it thing ever. And we were stoked and it was amazing. And what a cool thing to be a part of. Max won one, Morgan's won loads. Like, it was epic. And now it's just, like the balloon's been deflated a bit. But we'll see. Who knows? Someone could bring it back. And I hope so.
Yeah, definitely.
With all the changes to the UCI, I think at some point we're probably going to try and work out some explain of what's happening with World Cup. But from your point of view, how does it work running a team for 2025 in the Downer World Cup? You know,
compared to last year,
compared to what are the changes that we had to compete with?
Because it used to be pretty straightforward.
It was pretty straightforward. Yeah, very, very stressful. We had to wait all winter. We weren't in a top 15 team. Well, we came 10th in the World Cup team series as a team.
Right.
But then there was a change. So you had to go off UCI team points. So if you'd done IXSs, races in Indonesia, like we did, any race adds up to put you in this ranking. And we weren't in it, unfortunately. So we had to wait until the end of January just to hear if we were allowed to be a team. So very, very stressful. Luckily, we got a wild card. It went off your social media, the size of your pit, sponsors, etc., etc. We've been given that now, so we are an official World
so
Series
you
team.
had to get a wild card?
We had to get a wild card.
That seems insane.
Yeah.
Considering what you guys bring.
You would hope,
as a whole.
With the pit set up and hopefully the fans. I'm the second most followed male racer.
Right, and we're just the whole media presence behind Eddie, Morgan, everyone.
So we had to get a wild card, which, I don't know. Maybe change is good. It was very confusing to me that it went from, because we want to be a World Cup team, and in the World Cup our team was 10th, but then the UCI ranking made the World Cup.
Is that why you went off to Indonesia to get a few
so we went
points
there, and then we've been doing loads of races this year. Jenna's killing it. So I think we've scored the most UCIs this year between any team so far. I think we're probably, if they reset it in January, we're probably number one. Maybe Trek might have us with Lockie, but otherwise we'll probably be like technically number one ranked now, because we're cranking UCIs in case we need them at the end of the year. You know, so that's a huge change and a huge worry.
I guess that adds expense as well, right?
Yeah, a lot of expense.
Yeah.
And then, with the team fee now is 45,000 euros to sign up. So, yeah, it's kind of terrifying. And I'd signed all the contracts with the sponsors. So they were set for the last few years. So that just comes off my wage. I take that on board. I ran the team. You get lucky some years, you get unlucky others. So, yeah, main change would be the massive increase in expenses. 3 more races.
We're up to 10 now, right?
Yes. And 10, I would estimate $20,000 a race to run a full-size team. So, it's quite a lot more cost. I'd say that'd be the biggest changes would be the cost and waiting to see if you were a wild card. Biggest changes for us.
Not positives then.
Don't know. Change is change, dude. Let's just hope. Change is always scary. Yeah. Hopefully it's going to be amazing. Hopefully all these non-endemic sponsors come in and we've all got Rolexes on, flying in helicopters. It could be the best thing ever. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. And I don't know. The sport of mountain biking is amazing. Hopefully, more eyes get on it if that's what you want. I love it as it is. Is more eyes good? Is it bad? I'm not sure. But yeah, it
could benefit from the bit of Supercross treatment, right?
Yeah, you could get more money. But then again, do we want more money, or are we just happy with what we are? I don't know. I think we're always scared of change in life. Anyone, and as long as it stays positive, we keep bringing new kids through the sport. We have some random people like me or Coulange or Andy Colblate, and as long as we can keep that going and there's a good pathway for kids to come through, and it becomes more clear. I think it's quite confusing, but again, maybe we're all just learning and we're not that smart because we're mountain bikers and we struggle with things. A lot of the time, I'm definitely not the smartest person ever. So yeah, maybe we'll get there and it's going to be the best thing that's ever happened.
It's cool that there's more races this season, though. I think that's from a fan's point of view. Okay, there's a whole TV package thing, blah 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 in the UK, but
a lot of money, yeah.
There are more races to watch this year, which
is good, yeah. And especially we've always done Hardline and Crankworks and everything else because you do need to fill up your schedule. 7 races isn't really enough, so we've done other ones to fill it up. And yeah, I think more races is a good thing. Bar where the industry's at now and budgets is the only negative I do see. More races is a really good thing, And like I said, we're going to go to Twill, Lake Platte, we get a couple new venues, which is awesome because I would love more new venues. But I've been going to Leo Gang for 16 or 17 years. So yeah, I think more races is a good thing, yeah.
And positive change with the format?
Semi-final. I hated semi-final.
Okay.
The worst thing that could ever have happened.
But no protection either, right?
No protection, which I think is cool. I personally, only in my opinion, I definitely could be wrong. I think it should be 40. If you look at most races last year, there would always be about 5 big names that would miss out in the 30 to 40 bracket. Okay. I was one of them at Ludenville. I had a stressful week. I rode like shit. I didn't change my tires, which I should have. And I got 31st or 32nd. I think our sport is a 40 rider, I think at least an elite level. There's amazing 40 riders out there. It's such a deep field. So I would have done 30 plus 10 or whatever. I think that first race, to getting into the 20, is going to be easier than getting into the 10. That 10 is going to be a bloodbath, dude. You are going to have people risking their lives for that last 10 spots. So yeah, it's crazy. It's so much change over the last few years, and a sport that I've done so long. Yeah, it is nerve-wracking. The semi-finals, dude. When you're not protected, were awful. The worst thing ever. I hated them, and I know a lot of people did. So yeah, I kind of forgot about that. If I'm honest, that's another thing to deal with when we get to Poland. No protection, but yeah, you'll see. It could spice things up a bit. I don't know. Just get me to the final.
Should we move on to the bike? Because obviously it's there's been quite a story behind this. We've seen lots of prototypes over the last sort of couple of years. And this was launched back in October last year. Yeah. You're going to be racing the factory version of it? You sort of...
Yeah, I'm on the factory version all year. I'm running a large, and I've actually made it shorter since getting on the carbon one. Yeah, I've gone 5 mil shorter in the headset, which is that. And from the prototype, it's 1.1 kilos lighter than the prototype,
right?
Which was really weird to get used to. So we have a 500 gram weight on it, and actually one day this week, I did 8 laps at Dovey 2 days ago, and we added another 500 grams just to see how it feels, and we're going backwards and forwards, just trying everything, and seeing what's going to work best. It's just fractions now. There could be 10 guys on a second, dude.
Yeah.
So, like I say, if it feels good, it could be in your head, You know how planted an e-bike feels. It feels great under braking, under this, under that. And most of the modern tracks, we're just holding speed. We're not trying to regenerate speed out of tight turns. You just want to be holding as much speed as you can, braking as well as you can. So, yeah, I love it, dude. We've put a lot of development into it. I've done good on it. I love the mullet. The reason I hated mullet, if I'm honest here, growing up, we'd always do, even running the race team forever, a front to back tire swap.
Yeah.
I hate waste.
Right.
Front tire is going to last longer. Chuck that in the rear, freshie on the front. And you can't do that now. I think that's the only reason I hate it. But yeah, otherwise, absolutely love it, dude. It's unreal. Definitely different to ride and get used to. And I'm trying to think, what else do you guys want to know?
Well, I guess, would you, if given the choice, say Pivot never had to sell a single downhill bike, would you have been happy just staying on the Proto?
I would have been happy staying on it, but I like this one. This one's smart, dude. I know everyone loves the look of the Proto, and it is cool. But I kind of like, this has got a thicker top tube. I like looking down on a thicker top tube. Like when I first got it, I was like, really cool. It sounds a lot different, which is crazy. Like it makes a way different noise down the trail. That was weird to get used to.
Yeah. In what sense? Like more muted?
Like more like dead, muted, like a dong dong. Like more dead. It is quieter. And it looks cool on you, like when you do a whip or something, it looks sick. So, I really like the full carbon one, if I'm honest. It's so neat. We've got all these cool little things with it. And like the down tube, it's got this like rubber down tube protector the whole way down. And like, even if you put like a dye bra or something on, to protect it on tailgate when you put it on a pad, it's always going to wear through it. Whereas this has got this thick piece of rubber, which I think is one of the coolest things they've ever done. Such a simple little add-on, but I think that makes me really happy, the rubber thing on the down tube.
Well, it's rider friendly, right?
Yeah, it's rider friendly.
Yeah.
It's cool. You roll it out of the garage and you're like, I got a nice bike.
Yeah.
I remember getting my first carbon pivots and I was like, dude, this is like my trail bike I'm riding around. Like, this is pretty cool bit of kit,
What was it like being involved in the whole development process of all the prototypes and stuff? Was it, we get a new sort of shape every week? Was it a bit more nuanced? What was going on with it all?
Well, we had two bikes at the start. We had this one and one that had a single chain. So we had two bikes in New Zealand to go backwards and forwards on for 3 months. There was a lot there, and then we changed the length, the angle, the heights. It was really cool. It was like nervous to start with because I'm probably not the best tester, but like I got help from them, and Eddie and Matt are way better than me.
Okay.
They helped a lot, and would like go back with feedback. So it was really cool to be a part of it, and see all the changes. And learn that you can't leave lugs out overnight because they don't bond to a carbon tube, apparently, which we learned the hard way, unfortunately. But I've still got a sore neck. I've got new physio exercises last week because I've still struggled to sleep sometimes. I've got this really sore neck from that crash in Rotorua.
So just for anyone who hadn't seen that, that's where basically the head tube...
It came unbonded. Nothing snapped, but basically, they were contaminated. The glue didn't stick, and it just came apart in my race run at Rotorua. But luckily, I was fine. They learned from the mistakes, and they know going forward. So it's one of those things. But I've got new physio exercises now. My neck's finally getting better just over a year later.
When Chris Kokalis comes to you and said, we want to run a new downhill bike, do you get nervous about the process? If you've been so comfortable, so successful on the previous bike, knowing going forward there's potential change.
Yes and no. I hadn't been that successful yet. The call I had, and the first time I ever saw a CAD drawing was last time I was in Chile, actually, which was 2022 maybe. Kevin and was it Bill phoned me up. We had like a Zoom call, whatever, and I saw the CAD drawing then. No, I was so excited because we'd been on the other bike for a while. I'd done good. I'd had a podium on it, maybe one somewhere. Yeah, one. But that was it, really. And it was that year that I started doing pretty well on their current 2901. But no, I was so excited. And the 2-chain thing, when I saw that like out the gate, I was like, it's just cool. It's so different. It's super like racy, And no, I was excited from the get-go, if I'm honest. And like I say, I hadn't even done that. Like I'd done good. I'd had loads of top 10s, maybe one podium. But it was the end of that year. I started doing really well on the 29. And then I was probably nervous about the new one. But even then, it looked so cool. It was at the end of that season, I went to Phoenix to the office to see it and ride it round and go test it there. So,
and do you have like a track at home where you can sort of benchmark a time? And so if you're testing stuff, if you can sort of be close to it? We kind of have them
in Queenstown, not here. I didn't have that then, but I got the bikes. They shipped to New Zealand. First time I rode it was in Phoenix and then New Zealand. So we kind of have ones there that I know really, really well.
Okay.
And we did so many time runs between, this bike you see and the other bike we had, the two. It was mainly trying to decide between the two bikes.
Okay.
More than anything, rather than comparing it to the old bike, if I'm honest. It felt instantly better. It's got like 20 mil more rear wheel travel. So it was a huge increase in travel in the rear, which was amazing. More rear axle path. And they were probably the biggest differences, just how much more travel and smoother it felt. And getting used to a small rear wheel, I guess, which is awesome. I always buzzed my ass on a 29er, and I still do on this because I'm off the back a lot. So that was probably the nicest bits. It was, the main process was going between the two bikes and the length, because it became a lot longer than the old ones. We were trying to work out where we were on length.
Do you put requirements into those guys and say stuff like, I want more travel, I want this?
Well, they always knew we wanted more. Yeah, we always wanted more if we could. Like, that was the one struggle we got. The old one was a great bike, but on square edge hits, it could have been better, Yeah. That was one place you could see that at St. Anne or whatever, or like other team managers that I'm friends with, like, man, you're struggling in this section, or they're all quite friendly and like, right, you need to get better through here, or can you soften your bike? Or I'm like, we're kind of short travel, right? Like, it was a great bike, but we knew where we were going with the other ones straight away, I think. Yeah.
That's cool.
Product life cycles for bikes are usually like 3-4 years. You sort of mentioned it was 2022-ish when you first saw CAD of this version of the bike, which by my reckoning means by the end of this year you'll have the next one in CAD in theory. But would you like to stay on this bike for a couple of years now?
100%, yeah. Well, I don't know, I might only race this year, we'll see. But yeah, I feel like we got on this 3 days before St. Anne. Last year is all I rode it, the carbon one, and it was quite a bit different. It feels amazing, but it was so different. So coming into this year, even, I've had so much more seat time on it. And I'm excited for that. Like, even this year, dude, get me to the races. Like, yeah, I can't wait, if I'm honest.
It's pretty cool. 2025, from like a tech nerdy perspective, there's some really cool bikes in the downhill world, and it feels like, everyone's sort of the cliche, it's the F1 of mountain biking, but like, it feels like there's so many cool bikes coming. Double chain here, there's a Gates there, there's all this sort of stuff. Like, it must be exciting to sort of be at the forefront of that a little bit.
Yeah, it's sick. Yeah, like I always said, well, you can again now, like most downhill bikes that race and win World Cups, you can buy.
Yeah.
You can walk in a shop and buy it off the shelf, and you can with ours again, but more and more so you can't, like you say, like those Specialized and everything else, they are one-off like specials. Like the ones we were on originally were like $40,000 for a bike, that we're racing at World Cups. It was insane. But I mean, this one, you can walk into a shop and buy it and have a great time, which is really cool. But yeah, I think as you see it get more high end, and there's 10 of us on a second, you're going to see more people trying this and trying that, and every little thing.
Do you want to see a race series where actually the bikes are completely custom and completely bespoke, or do you want it to be that sort of privateer link? Like saying,
I don't really mind either way, if I'm on it. I couldn't be like, oh, I want it to be like that, I want it to be like that. I just want it to be fun, enjoyable, great, racing, having a good time, hanging out with friends after it. I just want it to be this awesome sport we all love. But then on race day, you're going all in. I don't know.
Yeah,
I couldn't care that much either way. If like, we want all this technology. I mean, it's really cool what they're doing with electronic suspension and this and that. And I'd say it's an unfair advantage right now, but hey, good for them. They're doing it, we're not. But yeah, I don't know.
Is there a psychological element to that when you see Bruni there with his fancy button?
Yeah, when you're sat in the hot seat there and you're like, Bruni. But he's incredible anyway. He's probably going to beat you anyway, isn't he? I mean, if he beats you by 0.5, get that shit off your bike. But if he beats you by 5 seconds, he was going to smoke you anyway. So fair play to the guy.
Yeah. You spent, the early part of your career obviously down in Surrey a lot of the time, and that's where you lived, and all your pals are down that way. But you've moved recently up to North Wales. We were up at Atherton a few weeks ago, a month or two ago, and you sort of look over and you're like, oh, there you are.
Yeah.
You're literally in the warehouse next door to them.
Yeah.
What's it been like moving up to North Wales? It's a new scene. There's different riders. There's different companies. It seems like a bit of a hotbed at the moment of mountain bike downhill talent.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've said it in another podcast. The Athens do not get enough credit for what they've done for, I think, UK downhill, that town, and just how accommodating they are. Like, if I text Dan today, hopefully he doesn't get in trouble with his race team for this. Hey, mate, any chance I can get an uplift? He'll get a Land Rover ready for 3 o'clock for me, and have someone drive it for me for 3 hours if I want it,
Really?
And I'll just pay him some cash, and he'll have a Land Rover.
Is that accommodating?
That on a Monday afternoon, He's amazing, and it's so cool. And we ride with G and him and Charlie, and it's such an incredible spot. And I'm 5 minutes from it now, if I want to be serious about racing right now, what am I doing in Surrey, dude? I'm near London, but who cares? I never go to London. Why not move to the place? I go a lot, and it's unreal. And even the atmosphere, most weekends, you'll have different pros there. One weekend, it'll be Adam Brayton. One weekend, it's Danny Hart. Next weekend, it's Charlie. You're kind of in the spot where everyone else goes. So you've always got cool new people to ride with. Jordan Williams was there last week. It's a really cool environment, and I think it breeds a positive attitude, and it makes you want to work, dude. You want to go pedal, and you have it right there. It leaves no excuse.
Is it ever quite eye-opening when you see, say you're coming towards the race season and you haven't bumped into one of the riders for, 2-3 months, and then you see maybe how they're riding or the level they're at? Does that kind of
Not really. Like some
no surprises.
Like, do I want to ride with them? I guess there. Like, but Charlie's incredible there, and he's got some. So I saw a line he did at the end last year. I'd never even seen it.
Really?
Like, how have you spotted that line? He like came out on Super Speed, but out that tunnel. Do you know near the end before Death Road, the big road?
Okay,
There's
yeah.
a little tunnel you go through.
Right.
And he hopped out of the end of the berm over the next roller. And it was so cool. And I was like, whoa, Charlie's such a good bike rider. And I was really impressed by it. You know, and like not in a big hurry. I don't get impressed a lot. I see Bruni and all these people week in, week out being amazing riders. But Charlie Hatton is a talented rider, dude.
Yeah.
And that was really impressive. It was the end of the season. So it wasn't a worry. But I was like, dude, that was pretty sick. But otherwise, now we're all going pretty hard. Like there, Danny will do a lot of laps and we'll be pretty similar. Or they'll pull you 2 bike lengths here, you'll pull them 2 back there.
Okay, so it's fairly even in that sense.
Yeah, or some tracks definitely I could be like, there's no way anyone's keeping up unless Ronan Doon turns up because he'll risk his life every lap and you're just practicing. So I'm not trying to keep up with him practice, mate. He's a nutter.
I was going to say, so with your reputation at Hardline, it's always, I suppose everyone else are the underdogs, and it's always you're always put on this pedestal. It's like Hardline is Bernard's race, therefore Bernard should always win, which must be really hard.
It was cool. Honestly, I was so upset 2 years ago when they cancelled it for the weather, and I still stand by it. Shouldn't have been, but I guess they had TV slots. I was so upset then because I knew that I had I broke my wrist and finger 2 years ago when Jackson beat me, or 3 years ago. Won qualifying with it somehow, I still beat him. Crashed in my race run, and he beat my race time by a second, and I was so upset because I was like, I still could have won that. I know, and I was like, Jackson's only going to get better and better, and I could have had him at this point.
Okay.
I didn't because I crashed, so I didn't have him. Couldn't have had him. But I knew I was there, you know, and then the next year I was like, this is mine. If it rains, there is no way. And when you have that in your head, there's no way anyone's getting close to you. And I was the only person that hit the track in the whole track in the morning. So yeah, I felt like it then. And then Ronan just was riding so good last year, you know. Tasmania, I thought I did ride bad in my race. Still got second. I won qualifying, got second, went to Wales and was like, felt great, but I knew if it was dry, it was going to be hard to beat Ronan. So I was really happy with my second in Wales. Like I rode as good as I wanted to ride. Ronan just rode better than me. Fair play, you know? And then going into Tassie this year, I had a pretty bad off season. I was really sick all of December. Spent a month doing nothing, flew to New Zealand sick just to try and get some sun. Finally started getting better. I only had like 4 weeks before Hardline to ride and train. So I was really underprepared and did go with a lot of pressure myself. I podiumed every single time, bar the time that I crashed with Jackson. Every single time I podiumed, I knew this is going to be really tough for me. Really, really tough with Jackson and Asa and Ronan. And I was like, if I ride amazing today, I could. And I honestly thought one of them was going to have to make a mistake for me to win it. I kind of knew that, but I knew I could get a podium if I went good. So, no, a lot of pressure. Obviously, it didn't happen. And that's pretty controversial, what happened there, in my opinion. But no, I think I like pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you approach it? So you're so well known for really being able to just tackle the gnarliest stuff on the Welsh track. And it is horrible. It looks terrifying. How is that like a mindset thing? Because I guess everyone can ride at a similar level for the most part. When you're at the World Cups, it's all, you know, you're duking it out for the same sort of positions.
Yeah.
But I guess you just got this rep for when it gets, you know, everyone's stepping up that much more. It looks insane. And you're able to just tackle it like it's nothing.
Even in my head, or you guys saying it, like build your confidence. You're like, oh, that guy said I was hitting that good, you know, or whatever. Like it is such a mental game. And since doing it good and testing the jumps now, I've just somehow in my head built myself up to be confident and enjoy it. I don't know, it is probably an ego thing. You feel cool and everyone's screaming and you hit the jump and everyone's stoked. Like, well done, man, fist bump. Like, it's a good feeling, I guess, you know. It's hard to beat that feeling, or coming down in the green, you know. Like, you want to go hard. You want to do the jumps first. And yeah, it's a pretty addictive feeling, I guess.
I still find it baffling, though, knowing what the riding's like around Surrey, where you and Brendan ride. And then, you know, we sat down with Josh and we talked through all of this stuff, and he's like, the jumps are the easy bit. And no matter how, you know, they're insanely huge. It's the tech stuff where he was like, arms are falling off. You don't want to ride that fast because it's terrifying. And that's Josh Bryceland saying that. And I just don't get how you go from these like 30-second dusty little sandy tracks in Surrey to being able to just slide your way down the gnarliest stuff.
I've like obviously ridden in New Zealand a lot, and I think New Zealand has helped my career like leaps and bounds. Being there for the last 10 years, you know, every summer. Without that, don't think I'd be nearly as good at Hardline as I am, or even World Cup racing, period.
Okay.
And I've moved to Wales now. You know, since the Athens opened their bike park, we go there loads, even when I lived in Surrey. So, yeah, I just think that has probably helped more than anything, because you're right, it's weird. Like, we ride the smallest things. I went back last week to one of the first spots I'd ever rode at, started riding. I put it on my Instagram. The jumps were from me to you. And honestly, I was so
Sounds
cool
pretty big.
and humbling to see it and like be so proud of not just where I've come from, but mountain biking. That used to be what we all rode, and that was the norm. And mountain biking's gone from there to 80-foot jumps in your racetrack. Like, how cool is that progression, and how lucky are we to have been a part of that? You know, like I genuinely feel privileged that I've been able to be a part of this with the Athertons, Dan and G creating Hardline. What an incredible out of the box idea to create that, and then I've been able to get in on it and like ride it and race it, and the whole scene that's moved forward with the new technology, these bikes. Imagine a bike 15 years ago trying to hit this.
It's mad.
Like the technology and the brands like Chris and everyone pushing, and I feel privileged to be in this era of it, you know, where it has progressed so much.
You said earlier though that, you know, Ronan sort of goes out on a run and is like he's willing to die on it, sort of thing. Do you think is it too fast? Do we need to have like slow, more technical courses?
Definitely. I would love to see it go more technical and harder again. You are going so quick. You know, like we average 55 k's an hour at Hardline, and that's like, that's kind of a bad example because you've got the one highway and you've got that last bit where we're doing 75 k's, so it just puts it through the roof, and that's quite easy 75 k's an hour. Sure. You know, it's just big jumps and dead straight. But World Cups, honestly, they are the big jumps with smooth long lifts are so much easier than a short, steep 10-foot jump. Way easier. But World Cups, I would love to see back in the Schlabbing days. It's never quite going to go there because as the sports evolve, way more people ride. The track's 10, 15 years old. You can't just have a fresh Loma again because it's 15 years old. It doesn't exist unless we get a new bit of the hill. But then there's so many guys going down it way quicker, way this, way that. We've got so many lines guys that are spotting all these straight lines. We're all going to be on pretty much the same line. The bikes are incredible. We're going to drag all the dirt off too quick. And next weekend, it's going to get ridden by all like the casual riders. So next year, it's going to be completely ruined anyway and be quicker. Yeah. So until, I think the money would need to come in, or like so they can pay landowners to have all these fresh tracks, it might not happen. But I would love to see more technical. Like Leo Gang now, it's just pinned, you know, Fort William. Even though half of it's the same, it's so quick now because the riders are great. The equipment's amazing. So I think that's a huge part of it. But please bring some more technical. You see, when it goes to snowshore somewhere, I'm good at the technical. Please help me out here. I'm too old to be going as quick as these kids.
Do you ever sort of see yourself getting into like the course design, the course rep sort of stuff? Is that something you're interested in, or you just want to?
I don't know, maybe. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I always wanted to do a team forever, and now it's getting quite stressful with all the changes. So, no idea. I'd love to help out with Hardline and consult on that more and do cool features and help test. I would love to be a part of Hardline a lot,
They're saying there's a third round coming for next year or something.
Don't know.
Will you ever try and race a Supercross event again?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Jordan Booker, my friend here that runs Still 114, it's actually his bike. He's lent us. It's identical to mine. He has just built a new motocross track that should be finished by the end of today. And there's some 100-foot doubles on it. So I'm not sure if I can ride them this weekend ahead of the season, but it's 15 minutes from here. And we'll see. Maybe one day, you know, if I can save up some money again.
Because I followed that avidly as a Supercross fan, trying to just get the ins and outs and work out it seemed insane.
It was a cool experience. I'd try and do it on 250s now, not 450s, if I did it again, I think. And I wouldn't rush it. It was so rushed. We had the wettest autumn ever. We had this go wrong, that go wrong. I should just be like, reset, go again next year.
Because it seems like a massive ask.
Massive ask. I spent 25 grand trying to do it. Even then, it looked like nothing. It cost me 25. It was crazy.
And you had Jeremy McGrath helping.
That's insane. What a guy. He's the nicest, most humble guy.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
Wasn't he quite surprised how few starts you'd done?
Yeah, and just everyone. But he was awesome. We had, at the time, Cran's Tomax mechanic, when I'd had a huge crash one day, brought the parts back to his house from the race shop, the Kazakh race shop. We'd drive over there and pick them up. It was, I don't even think I appreciated it enough at the time. So thank you, everyone. It was insane and incredible, terrifying. I would want the commute to take longer to the track and hope we got stuck in traffic and things. I'm not even kidding.
Really?
I'd be like,
you were that scared?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Would you ever feel the same about mountain biking?
No,
never.
Close to. Supercross riders are incredible. They are so gnarly. It is mind-blowing. I mean, they're just amazing at it, aren't they? But
so when Ken Roxon said about stepping into downhill, how do you feel about that?
He'd get down it easy. And we were trying to work this out, a few of us. A few times at the pro circuit track at Glen Helen, I was 9 seconds a lap off Faulkner and McAdoo that were there at the time. They were doing a 46-second lap.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the downhill track? 3 minutes. I reckon Ken Roxon is going to be about 30 seconds behind.
Yeah.
So he's probably about the same as I was, but I mean, I wouldn't have qualified. So, yeah, it's a hard one. You know, would he be 30 seconds? I reckon he would. I haven't seen him ride much. I know he rode with Danny before, but he's an incredible athlete again.
Yeah.
I reckon he'd be about the same as how far off I was, I think.
Yeah.
He's an amazing rider. So
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy. I don't know.
But what did you do outside of all the racing? Obviously, you've got BK Sport. You've got vehicles. Like,
You've got a lot of cars.
We won't go into last night's
Don't go into the
escapades,
new one.
but
I
like,
hate it. Yeah.
you know, you see a lot of stuff on your Instagram. You've got some cool machines.
Yeah, I've got a golf buggy. Do you know what? I've got a golf buggy I bought for 1,100 quid at the warehouse. And I go to the golf course now and take Lada, my dog, out. And that is one of my favourite things to do. Go up to the golf course, hit some balls. It's like covered in sheep. It's this real cool golf course in Mac. And that's a really cool thing that I like doing, if I'm honest, cruising around in the golf buggy with the dog. Because people are like, oh, you're so lazy. There's some funny old boys out there. Really nice. And the guy, the greenkeeper, he's like, you should be walking. I was like, I've been riding bikes all day. I promise I've done my exercise. That's cool. And then, yeah, old cars. I love old cars. I've got an old Land Rover that I bought in New Zealand and shipped over. I've got a 1991 Porsche Carrera, like a 964. I've got a 1991 Ferrari Testarossa, because that's the year I was born. That's kind of why they're special to me. So, and yeah, the school bus. I love the American school bus that we use for the team. That's pretty sick. I drove that down. It's getting new lights actually in Aberystwyth at the minute because they suck. So, but you know what? I drove it the other morning, and when you're like busy doing it, I had such a nice. It was 7 a.m. The sun was out, and I just like driving, dude. I'm in this huge American school bus in the Welsh like roads, but it was such a nice drive. I honestly felt lucky. I was like, this is my life. Like, again, like we say, you work hard for these things, but I really enjoyed that in the moment. I had my headphones in, dog was in it, and yeah, it doesn't matter sometimes what you're driving, or it was just something I like doing. Yeah, I felt really appreciative of that last week.
Cool.
Actually, driving my bus, it was nice.
Everyone loves to see a bus. There we go.
Yeah.
We'll probably wrap it up in a minute, but a final sort of question. If you could, Pivot's got a wide range of bikes from hardtail XC bikes, I guess still do those, up to the downhill bike. If you could pick one bike from the Pivot range that wasn't your downhill bike, and then one bike from your past career, you can have two bikes. What would you be? What stood out over the sort of the past 18 years of racing?
I've just got the new Pivot Shuttle AM. So that's going to be the one Pivot I'm taking, dude. That thing is so fun. It's like a 160, 140. Me and Wynn did some street clips on it yesterday. I've ridden it a few times. I love it already. I've only just got it and it's incredible. It's so sick. So that's the one Pivot I'm going to take right now. Okay. And then one...
It's a big e-bike guy.
Oh, I love e-bikes, dude. Love e-bikes. Yeah. Do you know, I love riding. I think I'm too ADHD. Like, if we'd never ridden e-bikes, we wouldn't realize how quick you can get up. But I get so bored on the way up now. Like, it takes so long and you're going so slow. You're not seeing anything. I love being in nature in the forest. I absolutely love it. But like, I could have done 3 laps by now, like, and you wouldn't have known that before. But now we have these incredible machines.
Yeah.
Could have done 3. Now I've done 1. Like, you get spoiled, It's uplift. If you'd never had Atherton Bike Park, you wouldn't realize how good it is. And I prefer that now over Queenstown. I think it's genuinely better.
Wow.
But without, you would never have known Queenstown was the best. Then something else develops, just like e-bikes. So, big e-bike guy. Love that new bike. And then one bike from the last 18 years. That's really tough. I don't think what I've really loved. I mean, the first 26, the old Phoenix, like an Iron Horse Sunday. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty cool bike, dude. There was one at Fox in Phoenix 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the guy offered to sell it to me, and I might buy it. I might actually see if I can get it off him. Either that, or they had a thing called the M4X. It was like a 4-cross kind of cool bike.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like black and yellow. I love black and yellow colors, and it'd be a toss up between those two. I'll go M4X because I've got the e-bike. Oh no, because then I haven't got a downhill bike. No, old downhill bike. The old metal downhill bike. It's so heavy. I think it was like 44 pounds, but it's quite a gangster bike, dude. It looks cool. It's metal. It's burly. Sorry, I'm shouting now on this, but yeah.
No, it's cool. It'll be cool.
Downhill bike, passion, and it's white. I love white bikes as well.
Nice.
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah, well, good.
Let's wrap it up. But thanks so much for coming down to Bristol. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you do a lot of your own stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. Bernard Kerr on YouTube. Please check it out. I'll do more videos soon. There'll be one on this stupid van I've built. Don't really know what to say about that, but that should be an interesting video. What else have we got coming up? I think we got Sea Otter Classic. There'll be some new stuff to see there in a few weeks. So yeah, watch out for the Sea Otter Classic one. And then World Cup, dude. Poland, first World Cup. Tune in case you can't afford to watch it anywhere else or things like that. I'm not sure. It will be free on my YouTube to watch. So come and see the behind the scenes and everything at the World Cup there.
Yeah. And of course, there'll be all the stuff on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
A great person to follow. And of course, thanks also to Pivot for sponsoring this episode of the MBUK podcast.
Pivot, you guys are the best. We love you. Thank you for everything.
But yeah, no, we better wrap it up. So thanks so much for coming down. Thanks, Rob, for sitting here and asking some questions too.
I love it.
Yeah,
love it.
That's the job.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you on the next one.